Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. It is Thursday and as always we have captains for you ahead of round 15. So we're still going okay in Captain's Challenge. Still, that's there. So we're currently 4th overall. Again, still behind Mitch and still behind Vams there. And I see Darren Carr there up to number 7 as well. So we're still going okay. A little bit behind those top 3, but we've got a bit of a gap from 5th. So I'm hoping that we can crack the top 3 at some point in the near future. So let's go through my top 10 as we always do ahead of round 15. And we'll go through what I'm currently planning for this week. So let's kick it off with number 1. And geez, I tell you what, I think this is probably the first time I've ever gone for someone that's dropped a 50 the week before and put them at number 1. I've got Marcus Bontempelli at number 1. And this may scare some people off. And a lot of people might not go there. But just hear me out on this one. So I don't always like to just go, he had a bad week last week. He's not captain this week. That's fine, right? So it's a new game, new week. He got tagged last week. Bond had been someone that had been pretty safe all year, right? He'd turned up in all the full games he played before the last 2, right? 91, he wasn't great against Hawthorn, got going late, and then obviously bad one last week. But Richmond are still a great matchup. So for midfielders, they're Lily plus 9 points on midfielders from their average, right? So if he's even a 105 averaging midfielder, you'd say it's around that 115 mark, right? And his history against Richmond's been very good. The last 5 games he's turned up in, including the last 2 where he's gone 126, 151. Before that, 108, 107, 104. So some tons there. It's interesting because you can look at this matchup 2 ways. Is it like Richmond? Does he have to do a lot? He's probably not going to get... I don't know who's going to go to him, if anyone. The only one I could really think was just Hopper do some sort of run with sort of stoppage role, but he's not really been a tagger. So, but that's the only thing I could really think of. Like Camden McIntosh, maybe. But I do think Bont's in for a bounce back. I think he's going to bounce back. Richmond are a great matchup. I'm looking at the matchup here, and that is really what captains are for. So I'm going Bont at number 1. But again, I have another... I always do finalise my order on Friday in the pre-lockout chat. So if you guys want the full final list, tune in tomorrow for our live show. But obviously, doing my research throughout the week, this is where I've landed. So Bont is at number 1 with the matchup. Coming in at number 2, I'm going for Lockie Whitfield against Gold Coast. So Gold Coast are a pretty decent matchup for rebounding defenders. So they are, let's have a look. So they are, where is Gold Coast? They're, again, plus 8.1 points on someone's average. So they're a very good matchup. They're one of the better matchups. I think the only better matchups for defenders over the last 5 for rebound defenders is actually the Bulldogs, Melbourne, and Essendon. So they are the 5th easiest matchup, but those 5 are the teams that are giving up over 8 points. There's a few others giving up like 4, 5, 6 points, but they're the better matchup. So we saw Whitfield move back to defence last week, had like 10 kick-ins or something like that. So he's clearly got this role back. I think with Sam Taylor down as well, they need him even more down in defence because that means Aaliyah will play more of a defensive lockdown tool now, which means Whitfield will stay back there. So I'm confident in that role. Gold Coast, good matchup. His last couple, 145, 106, 106, 91. The 145 was last year as well. So I'm expecting a big score from Lockie Whitfield. And I think he'll reward his coach. So I've got him at number 2. Coming in at number 3. So number 3 and number 4 have been pretty much neck and neck for me. Haven't been able to decide who I'm going at 3 and 4. I've currently got Andrew Brayshaw at number 3. Just ahead, and I'll put him in there now, just ahead of Bailey Smith. And the only reason I've done it is for the matchup. So Andrew Brayshaw comes up against Essendon tonight in a great matchup. Essendon are by far the easiest matchup over the last 5 for outside mids, giving up 22.3 points more than someone's average, which is by far and away of the last 5 the easiest matchup across any position. Is the second easiest matchup across any position behind rucks against Richmond. So, again, it's meant to be a little bit wet. That's the only thing I'm concerned with Brayshaw. I mean, those marks won't be there, but there's still a very good matchup, Essendon, for inside mid. So I could still see all the tackles being there for Brayshaw, getting plenty of the ball. He's currently there at number 3. And I got Bailey Smith at number 4. And the reason he's there is he's obviously by far the highest averaging player this year in terms of average. So he is averaging 123.6 for the year. And his scores at GMHBA this year have been very good. So 126 against Freo, 127 against Melbourne, 149 against GWS, 126 against the Bulldogs. There his scores, right? Hasn't gone below. Well, what's his lowest score there? Is it 126 against the Dogs? Yeah, he's gone over 125 in every game at GMHBA that he's played there, right? So, and he scored a 149 against GWS, who are considered a hard matchup for midfielders, right? So, I've been tossing and turning with these two in terms of who I'm going for at the moment. And in terms of previous scores against them, so Brayshaw, 109, 129, 123, 137 against Essendon in his last 4. And obviously, Baz hasn't played Brisbane while at Geelong. So, because he missed the game earlier in the year. So I've just got it Brayshaw ahead, but I'm still not sure even right now if that's the correct one. I'm still you'll see my plans after, but I'm tossing up whether I go VC one of these two. That's what I'm really tossing up with. So I'll touch on the other guys, then come back to my plans after. But that's what I'm currently going with at the moment. And then in terms Brisbane for a matchup for midfielders, they're -6.5 for inside mids, but more Baz -2.3 for outside mids. So they're about middle of the range. They're giving up about what their average is there for the scores, right? So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm still very, very keen on Baz, and I might flip that even. I'm thinking about doing even right now while I'm recording the video, to be honest. It's very, very neck and neck with those two. And then coming in at number 5, I have got Tim English coming at number 5. So he comes against Richmond, which I mentioned over the last 5 weeks is the easiest matchup in all of fan. Wait, is that right? All of fantasy, yeah, giving up plus 24 points on average. And I believe that Essendon for outside mids is the only other matchup over the last 5 giving up plus 20. If I'm looking at here, yeah, there's no other matchup giving up that many points. Yeah, I've just literally skimmed through it there. Yeah, so it's clearly the easiest, clearly one of the top 2 matchups, and it is the easiest matchup there. Tim English has obviously been killing it this year. He's been very, very good, including obviously the last few weeks. So like even last week, ended up scoring the 120, averaging 107.8 for the year. And before that, 139, 95, 102, 92, 145, 124. So since round 7, the first 6 games of the season didn't go over 114. But then since then, he's gone 1, 2, 3, 4 scores over that in his last 7 games. So he's really found form, getting a lot of those tackles again, getting those plus 6s, everything like that. So, he's someone I'm really keen on. His last 4 against Richmond, 109, 131, 145, 105. So really good numbers there. I think he's in for a good day, and I've got him as my number 5. They'll go 6 through 10. So at number 6, I've actually got Brodie Grundy against Port Adelaide. So this will probably come down a little bit to if they drop Sweet and they just have Vicentini as the main ruck. If both Sweet and Vicentini are named, I might drop Grundy down 1 or 2 spots potentially. But regardless, I still really like the matchup. We saw, obviously, Gawn go well against it last week. Port Adelaide is still a great matchup, plus 16.3 over the last 5. I think it's still a really good matchup. And Grundy has been absolutely killing it the last, 6 weeks in terms of his numbers. So his last 5 weeks, 115, 111, 134, 124, 139. And that was against, Essendon, good matchup. Carlton, it's a tougher matchup. Melbourne, obviously, Grundy, 134, really hard, Gawn, hard matchup. O'Brien, 124, only rucked a ton up against O'Brien his last 10. And then Richmond, obviously, a great matchup. So I think he'll take advantage of another good matchup again here and go really well. So I've got him at number 6. At number 7, I've got Bailey Dale up against Richmond. So his last 5 against Richmond have been really impressive. 4 tons in his last 4. So 104, 107, 115, 104, 93 in his last 4 against them. And I've got him just ahead of another dog, which we'll talk about shortly. Probably for the ceiling. So his ceiling in his last 5. So he's gone 105, 154, 64, not great, but then 112, 127, hit a couple of those bigger scores, and I think he can go absolutely massive in this game, getting a few of those plus 6. So I've got him at number 7, just ahead of his teammate in Matt Kennedy at number 8. So Kenny obviously has turned up in his last 9 in a row. Again, he's clearly in some very, very good form. He's gone over 110 his last week was actually his first game under 110 since round 7. So, yeah, he hasn't gone below 100 since round 5, hasn't gone below 89 since round 2. So he's just been getting it done week in, week out. I do wonder if this is a game where maybe he plays slightly more forward, or if they play someone else more forward and Treloar gets more run in the midfield. But I still think regardless, he only had 40% CBAs last week, still pumped out of 107 with a massive second half. So I think he's still in the top 10. The only reason he's probably lower on the list is just the ceiling. He's only gone that one score over 120 this year, which was the 132 2 weeks ago. So probably just the lack of consistent ceiling scores. He's probably gone just behind Dale, who I think can go really big this week. I've got Luke Jackson at number 9, so up against Vicentini, obviously the brother of Dante, so Vigo Vicentini, for his first game for the Bombers. Jackson as well, number 1 ruck. Darcy's been managed. I think he can go really well. The only reason he's not higher on the list is because he hasn't had a score above, I think, 116, which was in round 12. He went against Wits, of all people. So he went well there. I think this is a game where he could definitely be a good VC shout, because I think he can definitely go 120 plus this week. The only reason I got him lower again is because of the lack of consistent ceiling. No 120 plus scores this year. But if there's ever a game where he's going to go 120, 130, it's going to be tonight, I think, against Vicentini. Might be a bit wet there as well, so more hit-outs for him, more disposals around the ground, maybe some tackles in there as well. So I do like Jackson as a bit of a pod VC, if you wanted to go there. And I've got Jai Caldwell sitting there at number 10. Probably, I really do like Caldwell. Like, he's someone I really want to get in my team. If you've been listening to the pod, in full games this year where he hasn't been managed, and when he's played over 70% game time, he's gone 146, 97, 100, 120, 128, 110, 122. So been super consistent. One score below 100, that was being a 97, and that was when they got beaten up by the Crows in round 2. But he's scored over 110 in his last 4, 120 plus in 3 of his last 4. He just consistently hits that score, and probably very harsh that he's not higher up on the list. Probably the fact that Freo aren't as easy for mid, so they're pretty much bang on average for midfield. So that's probably why he's not as high. But again, I don't mind him as a VC tonight. I think he could actually go quite well. So where is he on this list here? Jai Caldwell is down here. So yeah, it's a little bit down the list. So I don't mind him. But yeah, that's where I round out my top 10. I think the only real probably changes could be maybe Grundy slides down 1 or 2 spots. If Sweet's named, potentially, I might not even change it. Grundy did also score a 103 against Port Adelaide earlier this year, and Jai Caldwell's got a 116 against Freo last year. They were the only 2 stats I didn't read out from my stats here. And then Baz v Brayshaw at number 3 and 4. That's the only thing I might flip, but most other things I think are fairly set in terms of that. But some other names here. Tris Cherry against Carlton. He probably just missed out the top 10 purely just because Carlton aren't as easy a matchup. And I know that TDK actually played quite well against Tristan Cherry earlier in the season, and Carlton are a pretty tough matchup over the last 5. They're giving up minus 8.8 points. So they're one of only 4 teams giving up sub 5 points over the last 5, which is Adelaide, Brisbane, Carlton, Collingwood, funny enough. So even Gold Coast is a little bit easier. I think Luke Jackson's big score actually probably sways that with there as well, and Melbourne aren't too far behind. But Tris Cherry for me, probably not this week, but could go well. Probably a safer captain option, I think you could go to. Nick Dacos, not for me. I think St Kilda are a decent matchup still, but Windhager will go to Nick Dacos. I know that Rosson tried to say, Josh Dacos is an option, but he's going to Nick Dacos. Windhager's going to Dacos. It's going to Nick Dacos. So, yeah, not for me this week. I'm looking at him next week against West Coast. Nick Martin against Freo. Yeah, don't mind Nick Martin as a VC. I just think there are better options tonight, especially if it's going to be wet like what we're hearing. Freo aren't really a great team to screen. It's the only plus matchup that they've got across all positions is actually slightly just inside mids, plus 0.8, 0.1 to rebound defenders, and then they're a decent matchup for key defenders, right? But obviously Nick Martin's not key defender. So I think if it's going to be wet, I just don't know. He's got the ceiling though, so you could throw it on him, but I prefer Jackson, Caldwell, Brayshaw, guys like that over him. So not for me this week, Nick Martin, but don't hate it. Connor Rosie against Sydney. There's a chance he gets the James Jordan tag. I think that James Jordan went to Rosie earlier this year in that matchup. I think Rosie still went pretty well in that game. So he went 101 when he got the tag. I think with the tag, it just limits that ceiling. So that's why he's not in the top 10. Ed Richards, very, very unlucky not to be in my top 10. I didn't really want to just load up on like 50,000 Bulldogs in my top 10, but Ed Richards is definitely someone that if you've got him, you could definitely look at. So he is he's been killing it as well. He's only had one score below 100 since round 7, that being a 97 against Hawthorn, who are a tough matchup, but some decent scores in there as well. 131 against Gold Coast, 115 against Geelong, 119 against Port Adelaide, but doesn't normally have that massive ceiling. So only reason that he's not in the top 10 there, but great matchup, and if you've got him, you could definitely look at him. Caleb Sarong, again, not a bad matchup here as well. He's more of an inside mid than outside, but I think he can rack up some tackles tonight and be a decent shout. So I'd prefer him over Nick Martin as a VC. Again, reason I don't have him there, he's only had the 2 scores this year over 120, and one of them being obviously last week. But besides that, hadn't really done huge scores. And Setterfield could always do some run red roll with Sarong. So he's just not in my top 10 just because he's not there. But I don't hate the idea of a VC if you've got him, want to chuck it on someone tonight. Nasai Wangney Miller, I don't mind him against Collingwood. I just think Collingwood aren't really a great matchup for really anyone. They're pretty much red across the board, except for inside mids is the only half-decent matchup over the last 5. But everything else is minus. And yeah, I don't like the matchup as much. But I still think he can go well. He's Nasai Wangney Miller, he can pretty much do it against anyone. And I don't think anyone will really go to him in terms of a tag. But if they're down by a lot, he can get chucked in the midfield or forward like they normally do, so I don't love that either. Zach Merritt, I expect Wagner to go to him tonight, so I'm not looking at him with the tag there. Sam Darcy, I wouldn't look at him as a captain option, even though he could go well. If you wanted to be real sort of just rogue and just go stuff, I just want to chuck it on someone and have a bit of fun, Sam Darcy could be that guy, but I'm probably looking at other options. Brody Grundy mentioned before. Holmes against Brisbane, tough matchup. Just not really looking at him too much tomorrow night, but he could go okay. He's been in great form. Sheasel against Carlton. Tricky matchup, Carlton. They've been a little bit better for inside mids of late, Carlton. So Sheasel could actually have a decent game, and Sheasel's record against Carlton is pretty good. So his average against them. So he's played Carlton 4 times for an average of 117.5. Scored 91 against them earlier this year. So he's got a good record against them, but I'm probably just got better options this week. Hewitt against North, not a bad shout, but probably not a huge ceiling there. I don't mind Lockie Ash. He was probably someone that's really unlucky to miss the top 10. I said about the matchup for Whitfield, obviously same matchup for Ash. I just think if Whitfield's back there, it just caps Lockie Ash at that. He's such a consistent 110 guy, right? But as a captain, you probably want the access to the 120s, 130s as a captain. And Lockie Ash, if you look at his numbers from from rounds 5 through to round 14, he's only had 3 scores below 110, 89, 93 in rounds 8 and 9, and then 105 against Port Adelaide. Every other game's over 110, but he's only had 1 score above 120 this year, which was in round 0 against Collingwood, where he went 125 with that 99-point second half or 98-point second half or whatever it was. So for me, just not really a captain option. Or he's actually a captain option, sorry. If you go VC on someone, you just want a safe one. But I think with Whitfield back there, just takes that ceiling off. Dunkley, wouldn't be looking at him at all, even though he could just pop a good score every now and at the drop of a hat. So he could put a good score against Geelong. It's a decent matchup for him, but I'm probably just not looking at him at the moment. Green against Gold Coast, good matchup, but not for me. Josh Dacos, again, probably very unlucky to miss out on the top 10. I think this is a matchup where he can go quite well. Obviously, defenders against St Kilda has always been a good matchup, and they're still a green matchup, and I think he can go well. We saw what Dale did last week. I think Josh Dacos could do something similar there. Butters against Sydney, he's not a bad shout as well if he doesn't get the tag, but I could see Rowbottom going to Butters at stoppages and then Jordan going to Rosé and doing the sort of almost a double run with roll for Port, so probably not for me this week, but I think he'll go all right. Zorko against Geelong, wouldn't be shocked if someone ran with him in that game, but could go okay, decent VC shout there. And some other guys here, but I'm probably not looking at really any of those guys. Setterfield actually not a terrible shout there. In terms of my captain and vice captain for this week, so it's a very tricky one. I'm looking at, so Bont's my captain, I think, at this stage against Richmond. It really just comes out of who's my VC. I wish I had Whitfield because I just wouldn't think about it. I'd just go Whitfield into Bont. But it's either Brayshaw tonight or Baz tomorrow night. And I'm really tossing up where I go. Really on my numbers, I should be going Brayshaw here as my number 3. But Baz at GMHBA, he's got such a good record there. Brisbane, I don't see them tagging, so I think Baz will just be able to do sort of what he wants. I'm probably leaning slightly towards Baz, and I may change the captain's order before the game starts. Obviously, when teams come out, I want to see what's sort of going on there. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I think if it was dry weather against Essendon at Optus, I think I'd be going Brayshaw for the upside there. But it's apparently going to be quite wet there tonight, which takes off those marks. Like, I know that he's not going to get a huge amount of marks, right? But even if it's like 3-4 marks, that's still 12 points. Instead of being a 125, that's a 110. Whereas Bailey Smith tomorrow night, if the weather's decent, I think he goes quite well. So that's what I'm looking at. But I guess we'll see how we go. But yeah, one of these two guys, VC into Bond as my captain. So that's what I'm looking at doing. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys are doing with your captains for round 15. Be interested to see where you guys are going. You guys going for, Bond after his 50. You guys looking at maybe... A lot of people are probably going to go Brayshaw and a Baz, right? That's probably going to be a very common VCC combo. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing with your captain, vice captain. Any questions, put them in the comments and I'll try and get to a couple if I can. But as always, if you do want a guaranteed answer, because I can't always get to YouTube comments, Twitter messages, Instagram messages, Facebook messages, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. You get a guaranteed answer in there to all your fantasy questions. Patreon members get a team review each week. So if you'd like to do that through the Ask Me on Q service, head over there and I can help you guys out with that. If you guys haven't already, smash a like on the video. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We are only 21 subscribers away from 4,000. We are very, very close to hitting that goal. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. We are very close. Just need 21 legends out there that haven't done it yet to get that done. And also turn the little bell on so you don't miss when we go live or upload content on the channel. So make sure you guys do that. I'll be back likely later tonight for a watch along for the Freo and Essendon game. So if you want to come over there, ask more questions, chat fantasy throughout the game, then head over there. But we're back tomorrow night, as always, for a pre-lockout chat, 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. per time, answering all your fantasy questions. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Enjoy the footy tonight, and we'll catch you guys maybe watch on tonight. If not, pre-lockout chat tomorrow afternoon. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night. See ya.